From Spamtown, USA, Austin, Minnesota, this is the Austin Bruins Coaches Show. We break down the big hits, the spectacular saves, and the clutch goals with the men behind the bench. Get the inside scoop with exclusive insight, strategy, and stories from your Austin Bruins coaches. And now, here's your host, David Coyer, alongside Bruins Associate Head Coach Al Rooney.
The Austin Bruins have split their last 2 weekends, and now it is 4 straight games against the Aberdeen Wings. And to break that down with me on this edition of the Coaches Show, it's the Associate Head Coach, Mr. Wonderful himself, Al Rooney. And it's been a long time since we've had you here on the program. Actually, the last time we had you on the program, we were heading to Aberdeen for a 2-game series back in December. So we're happy to have you back here on the program, Al.
Good to be back, as always.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's always exciting to pick your brain. So we'll kind of start doing that right now, looking back to some of these last couple of weekends. In these last few weeks, we've seen a few slower starts on Friday. The team kind of slow to get out of the gate. 1-1 these last few weeks. What have you seen from this team that has kind of led to some of these slower starts?
If we had the precise answer for that, we wouldn't be having those starts because it would have been rectified. But no, seriously, right now I don't want to certainly make it sound as if it's an excuse, but I think it's just a product of this time of year. You're past the holiday break or not yet to the playoffs. It's a bit of a lull in the schedule and the calendar year, so to speak. So it's just kind of that downer thing where the guys are kind of our job as a staff is to keep them focused, and and find the challenge each week. So like I said, it's not an excuse. I think it's more just a product of this time of year. The season now is starting to wind down. I expect that to go away as things start to come to focus, and hopefully the weather improves as well. So I think it's a variety of factors. There's nothing that you can really pinpoint, I feel, so to speak, but hopefully it gets rectified as we move forward, and that's the plan for this weekend.
And, something with this past weekend against St. Cloud, 7 different players playing in the top prospects tournament, 2 games there. They played 2 games the week before, so, 5 games in a span of a week. Did you see anything from those guys or hear anything from them that maybe that affected them at all? Because, even those guys from top prospects seemed like they were producing this weekend, so do you think that maybe had something to do with it, at least this past weekend against St. Cloud?
It's a different sort of week for everybody.
Sure.
The travel involved and the extra games with the players and staff that go to top prospects, and then for the players and staff that are behind, it's a different kind of week of practice because you're missing. For us, we were missing 7 guys, so it's a large amount of guys. We had some guys come in to step in, but it's never the same. So it's a different week of practice, a different week of preparation. Steve was gone as well, so again, but everybody's dealing with that for the most part over the course of the entire league. So you got to step up and handle these adverse conditions, and we went 1-0-1 for the weekend. It's not what we were shooting for, not ideal, but we'll certainly take it.
Still a 3-point weekend against the St. Cloud Norsemen, still in first place in those Central Division standings. And speaking about, taking the 3 points, the team has shown all season they have the ability, even after they go down early, to stay in these games. And we saw that Friday night against the St. Cloud Norsemen. And in fact, even if you look back to the loss against North Iowa a couple of weeks ago, that was the biggest loss of the season. And there's only been 2 games this year that the Bruins have lost by more than a goal. And what does that say about this team's ability to stay in games all season long?
Well, we've just and the guys have earned the right to be confident in themselves in the sense that we're one of the leading scoring teams in the league. So that gives us a real sense of feeling that we're never out of games, and we've proven over the course of the schedule that we can bounce back. Now, again, the ideal way to go about things is to establish the lead early and us have the chokehold on the game. But we can head into the playoffs over the course of this season knowing that, we've won in a variety of ways. So anything that's kind of thrown our way, hopefully we feel like we're going to be prepared for that situation. So hopefully that pays dividends for us moving forward.
One thing that's kind of been, shined through in this month of February is the penalty kill. And I've actually was really happy that we could have you on the coaches show here this week, because I always love talking PK with you. That's what you handle here for the team. 27 of 30 killed in this month of February, including a couple of perfect games. And for a penalty kill that for a little bit earlier on in the season had some moments where it was struggling, what's been working well on the PK side of things recently?
Well, I appreciate you being kind to our penalty kill, because the first half of the season we were woefully inadequate, in my opinion. So, for the bar that we set here and the standards we set in our organization, no, we weren't getting it done. Now, having said that, we also have one of the top power plays in the league. So we were still winning the special teams battles. So it at least, as a coach, you're trying to formulate ways to have your players grow and develop, but you also have to keep them confident too. And there was some nights where the PK didn't perform, so you're having to find ways to be like, okay, well, we had 2 big kills there late, and the power play scored 3, we allowed 2, so we won the special teams battle. So it was continually hammering that and continuing to make adjustments and changing some personnel. And early in the season, we didn't use Gavin Haruza. In the second half, we've used him, and he's been outstanding for us on the kill. So he's been a quality find. But there's a lot of guys that are contributing on the kill, and I think we've made some adjustments these past couple of months where from Christmas on, we've been kind of one of the top units in the league, and we're slowly climbing. We're about to crack the top 10 if we keep going in this direction. So. It's definitely pleasing to see. Another point of emphasis was we weren't blocking enough shots early in the year. But we have a lot of skill on our team. So early on, it's just like everybody's establishing, thinking that they're going to be the skill guy, and it's just like, all right, well, who wants to grit their teeth and kill the penalties? And we have enough guys now that are willing to do that. So it's been nice to see.
Austin Doyle's been one of those guys who, as of recent, it seems like he's always in front of passes, shots, all that sort of stuff, just blocking the pucks left and right. Definitely something that I know I've noticed, and I'm sure fans have noticed as well, the ability to block pucks. One thing you mentioned there, Gavin Haruza, here in the second half, getting added to the PK. And there's a lot of overlap between the PK and the power play in terms of personnel. I mean, Nathan Williams is on both of them. Gavin Haruza is on both of them. A couple more guys as well. And for those types of players who are also just 5-on-5 on the ice as well, I mean, conditioning never seems to have been a problem for the Bruins this year. It seems like the guys, even late in the game, they still have a bunch of energy. But how do you and Coach Murray, who handle the special teams, kind of handle that personnel on the ice to make sure that they're not getting, overworked when they get late in the game and maybe are relied on in some of those key situations?
Yeah, it's a variety of things, and mostly it's situational. Where are we at in the game, and what's the score? If we're up late, we're not going to use some of our our top guys. If we're down late, then we're going to push the envelope and use some of our scorers to try to get a late shorty goal, something along those lines. So it's very much situational. And we are making a conscious effort to, at times, spread those responsibilities out, because for 2 reasons. One, we want to keep certain guys fresh, and secondly, we have a veteran-laden team, so we want to keep a lot of guys involved and going forward. That's kind of the game plan, but we also have a deep roster. I think, especially with some of the acquisitions we made at the trade deadline, we can come at you with multiple power plays now, and it's also added some penalty kill depth. And Carter McKay hasn't even stepped foot on the ice for us in a game situation yet, but he's got 3 shorthanded goals for Shreveport this season. So he's a guy that I expect to step in, and we'll start getting some PK time.
14 games left in the season. It feels like we just started this season. I mean, it's really flown by. Bruins are in first place in the Central Division, but the message these last couple of weeks has been the playoffs start today. And, especially since there's not a huge lead in that first place over the Bismarck Bobcats. What does it look day to day here with the Bruins organization to not only emphasize that it's playoff season right now, but to make sure the team stays focused for this regular season, but also starts to get ready for that playoff run?
Well, I think certainly one of the areas is to really focus and hone what we do, and just make sure we're performing at our best, because we've put ourselves in a position over the course of the season to put that we control our own destiny right now. If we take care of our business down the stretch here, then we're going to finish in first and we'll have home ice. And I think ultimately that's the main focus. There's a lot of other little spokes in the wheel, so to speak, that we want to dial in to make sure certain units and certain players are ready to go. But the main focus is, what do we do? What are we built on? Make sure we're firing on all cylinders on that coming down the stretch and into the playoffs.
You know, speaking of playoffs, the Aberdeen Wings, third place in the Central Division. They've been in a top 4 spot all season long. I mean, this has kind of been a stretch that's been on the minds of myself, and I'm sure you guys, for a lot of this second half of the season. It's almost its own mini playoff series with 4 straight games against the Wings. How do you emphasize to this team the significance of this 4-game stretch against Aberdeen, while also keeping them focused on taking one game at a time?
Well, the main thing is, like you said right there at the end, is one game at a time. Right now we're focused on Friday. Let's take care of business on Friday, and then we go from there. The reality, obviously, is that they're a very tough team. They're well coached, always well prepared. They made some acquisitions at the deadline, so they're a potent and dangerous team. They're one of the top scoring teams in the league as well. Their special teams are always on it. Face-offs are always on it, so they're usually always face-off ready. So they are always a tough team. So we know we have our hands full. We have a veteran-laden team that has a lot of experience playing against these guys, so they know what we're up against. As far as Aberdeen is always a tough opponent, and then to go right back and go into their building the following weekend. So yeah, it's a big 2 weekends, but we're excited for it. You know, we're excited for the challenge. It's going to be some tough games, and this is a team we might see in the playoffs at some point. So it's time to, again, test ourselves and make sure that we're firing on all cylinders and taking care of business.
You kind of touched on some of them there, but are there any specific focus points that you guys are kind of working on in preparation, not even for next weekend in Aberdeen, but more specifically this weekend when Aberdeen comes here to Riverside?
I think it's really just making a point of making sure the new faces that we've acquired these past couple of weeks are dialed into the details, and that our systems are starting to become second nature for them, while also simultaneously allowing us to dial in the details on some of our other guys and as reminders. It's never enough to make sure that we're playing our style, our systems, and playing on the same page so that we can play as fast as we can. And we had some guys that were banged up. So we're getting some guys returned from injury, so it'll be getting them back acclimated. So that's kind of the focus point as we're moving forward.
You know, looking at, we've been talking about the team this whole time, looking at some individuals. Jack Solomon hit a big milestone this past weekend, winning his 40th career game in the black and gold, which passes Trent Wienken as the all-time leader in Bruins history in wins by a goaltender. So, showing that he has been one of the best goaltenders that has come through Austin, Minnesota. What does that mean, not only just, to the team to have a guy who's been here for 2 years and is able to do that, but also just shows what Jack means to this team?
Yeah, he's been a real backbone for us these past 2 years. It's definitely a nice security blanket, both as a staff and as a team, to know that you got a player of that quality behind you and a person of that quality behind you. He's a great guy. We, throughout the week in practice, he's a goalie. He's got that sense of humor, and I deal with him probably a little bit more than the other staff at times as an ex-goalie. And Nick Lear, our goalie coach, does a fantastic job with both Jack and Cody. And but I'm able to, at least especially on weekends, be that extra kind of sort of support that has the experience of being in that crease that they're in at that time. But yeah, this is 2 years in a row, or several years in a row now, I should say, where we've been real blessed with the quality and the depth of our goaltending. To go from Jack and Carl last year to Jack and Cody this year, it's been real nice. We can kind of shut our eyes and point to the board, and we know whichever goalie's going in is a number one goalie. So it's a big help going into those games.
As a former goaltender yourself, I know I've talked with both Jack and Cody, and the fans have heard it on our episodes of Austin Bruins Insider, but they've talked about their relationship and how, Jack wasn't here at the beginning of the season, and he came in, and, it was a little bit of a feeling out process, but they've developed a relationship where they're basically best friends. And I talked with Jack about his relationship with Carl last year, and he had a very similar relationship with Carl last year. As a former goaltender, did you ever have relationships like that with your goaltending partners, or is this kind of almost something that contributes to how well the two of them are performing because they're so supportive of each other?
I think it's a little bit more of the second. We've been real lucky that, these past couple of years we've found some pairings that not only on the ice are atop the league, but off the ice are quality, have great relationships, and have genuine friendships. And even though they're competing for ice time, there's genuine support there, and it shows through the results as well. It's not guaranteed every year. I had some seasons as a goalie where I had that with other partners, and there was other seasons where it's not. It's like anything. It's part of the recruiting process. As a staff, we're looking to build, not just find all the best players, but find the right guys that could fit into our culture. So it is a conscious effort that you're trying to find the right people and, players in that position that can have the maturity to be confident enough to be like, okay, when it's my net, I own it and I'm going to take care of business. When it's yours, I'm going to support you. And it's not guaranteed that you're always going to find that. So it goes to show you the quality of the young men that we've had come through our organization these past couple of years.
And earlier we talked a little bit about consistency with this team, but you look at the season as a whole, and I was looking at it the other day because Gavin Haruza was just named second star of the week for the Central Division, and there's seldom been a week this season where an Austin Bruin isn't represented as one of the 3 stars of the week. And you look at Simon Marshanock, he's on the doorstep of countless single-season records for the Austin Bruins. E.J. Paddington just hit 100 points. Nathan Williams is close to that. I mean, he's the all-time Bruins leader for assists by a defenseman. So many different accolades. I could go on and on and on. Even with my brain and all the notes I have, I start to lose track of just how close we are to so many of these. How does that affect? Obviously, that's an individual performance, and the players like to hit those individual performances, but how does that affect the team as a whole when, again, we have that consistency and there's just a lot of high-level players on this team heading into the playoffs, and how do you really kind of keep that from maybe going to their heads and keeping them focused on the game?
Just allowing them to kind of take ownership of it and kind of stay out of the way to a certain degree. We have a lot of quality players. We have quality leadership in the room with the guys, not just the guys that have letters on their jerseys. Steve always makes a point of, leadership. Those are just the 4 guys that can speak to the ref. Mm-hmm. But leadership comes from, all of our veterans. So the maturity and leadership and the quality of the people that we have in that room allows us to have that, the quality depth that we have out on the ice. We have guys that are all not just Cody and Jack. We have guys that are genuinely root for one another in that room and are excited for one another's success. So it's nice. And as a staff, like I'll go back to what a coach said about his position one year when I was playing in the minors. At this point in the season, a coach should be more of, the conductor. The veterans on the team should be the engine of the train, driving that train down the track and leading it to success. At this point, we're just kind of leaning out, making sure that it's staying on track once in a while. And other than that, stay out of the way and let the leaders run. And with what Steve and our staff has assembled through trades and recruiting over the course of the season, we have a lot of options, moving forward. If one set of guys are not feeling it that night, we can come at you with these 2 sets of lines or 3 sets of lines. And Same on the back end. So it's something where the players have taken hold of it, and now it's just a matter of making sure that they're staying focused on it.
Absolutely. This weekend, the Austin Bruins here at Riverside Arena for a 2-game series against the Aberdeen Wings, 7:05 puck drop both nights. Friday night, a Friday family 4-pack night. For $60, you can get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, 4 popcorns, for a family of 4. Of course, we do have add-ons. If you have an additional member of your family or want to bring a friend, $15 to get an extra package of that. Or if you're Mr. Al Rooney over here, you would just buy that for yourself because he's a big, hungry guy who can finish large meals with ease.
Yeah.
Saturday is Scout Night. So a $20 package gets you ticket, hot dog, popcorn, soda, and an exclusive Austin Bruins Scout patch. You have to order that by Thursday. You can go to tickets.austinbruins.com using the promo code SCOUT to get that package for that Saturday night game. But 2 very important games this weekend. And I have one more question for you, not Bruins related.
Okay. Oh, boy.
What are your thoughts on Nathan MacKinnon?
Oh. Nightmare scenario for that poor guy. Man, that empty net he missed is something else. And again, it is what it is. I don't know where I was during the game, but I didn't see that Hellebuck save with the stick, so I missed that. So that's why that Nathan MacKinnon miss just stood out the most, because when it popped to his stick in that split second, my shoulders just slumped, and I'm like, And for him, the lead and score of the NHL to hit the side of the net just blew my mind.
Yeah,
blew my mind. What a shame.
Well, hey, you and Connor Hellebuck have that thing in common. You both played goalie down south. Of course, you were in the minors back when Odessa was a minor league hockey team. But the Jackalopes, when Hellebuck was there, in the North American Hockey League. So a North American Hockey League goalie, winning gold for the U.S. in the Olympics. But as always, a pleasure chatting with you, Mr. Rooney. Always love picking your brain.
Thank you, Mr. Coyer.
And we'll hope to see you here. 2 games against the Aberdeen Wings. Big-time matchups. We need Riverside rockin'. So get your tickets, as always, at tickets.austinbruins.com. But for Mr. Al Rooney, I've been David Coyer. This has been another edition of the Austin Bruins Coaches Show right on the Bruins YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.